This episode of GameBreaker is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/GameBreaker. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to GameBreaker episode 5 for January 30th, 2014. I'm Gary again. You're watching GameBreaker TV. Joining me, Mr. Pat Crane. How are you, sir?
We are halfway to double digits, folks. This is a big day. This is a big day.
And I am half in the bag, so we're almost there.
All right.
The Coltrane is sitting out this week. He'll be back next week. Joining us, Mr. Mike Byrne from This Week in MMO and various other things.
Lovely to be here.
Excellent
Lovely
to have
to
you.
be here. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, Gary.
Let me shut this crap music off. Who came up with this thing?
I think that was you.
First up, I'm gonna refresh my cocktail, and I'm gonna say I forgot to congratulate, or I shouldn't say congratulate, but I should say job well done to Pat Crane, the voice of GameBreaker video reviews.
Yeah, that hit
brother.
the internet. That hit the internet this week.
Yeah,
Did a little review of Revengeance.
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. So that was our first review.
Right.
It's a little bit late out, but we know we were working on the first one a little bit longer. But we're going to be doing video reviews consistently now on the GameBreaker. So the first one is out for Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and Pat Crane is the voice. And what a lovely job he does.
It was fun. I like being voices of things. It's always lovely, and knowing that it's with a video game, that just makes it all so more, sweet. There is that as well. Yeah.
All right, so let's. This is the show where we talk about the biggest stories of the week on the GameBreaker.tv website. First up this week, in a Reddit AMAA, Mr. John Smedley, the CEO of Sony Online Entertainment, drops a bit of a hint about an unannounced SOE MMO designed for SWG, that is Star Wars Galaxies players. If you guys are old school MMO SWG vets, I guess first off, for those people who didn't play Star Wars Galaxies, which is probably everyone listening, SWG vets hold SWG in their heart. There was something about it. There was, it was Star Wars. It was, now we've got SWTOR, but at the time, I mean, it was an MMO. It was the Star Wars IP. Star Wars nerds loved it, freaked out about it. The initial incarnation of it, which was really early on, did a lot of crazy innovative things that they then changed throughout the years, and kind of the game really was something completely different towards the end. And then as we got closer and closer to Star Wars The Old Republic launching, the license, I think, ran out on the IP, and Sony had to pull the plug on the old servers there and take SWG down, which made a lot of people sad. But, a lot of people still kind of look back at that game as wishing that they had that place. So John Smedley did a Reddit AMA. I guess this was a few days ago or last week. I can't remember. I think it was last week. He came out of this with this bomb. He just dropped a bomb on everybody and just said, if you could relaunch, this was the question that he was asked on Reddit, said, if you could relaunch a shutdown title, which one would you pick? And what would you do differently this time? And his answer was SWG. I would do everything differently. And then he says, SWG players, our next game, not announced yet, is dedicated to you. Once we launch it, you can come home now. Immediately, internet blew up. We watched traffic just going crazy when this went up.
Right.
That was right as we finished Twimo last week, too.
Yes, that's right.
We were just signing off. Gary got a hold of that and instantly took his pants off and unsubscribed to every MMO he has on his computer.
I am one of those SWG
Smedley, I just want to come home. And
we were talking about this last week, Gary. Coltrane was going on and on about SWG, and I never played it, so I don't really have that experience. But you and Coltrane have both been SWG nerds.
I've been waiting to come home to that place for a long time. I'm still holding out, waiting, but the one thing, so obviously everybody went crazy. Star Wars Galaxies fans are, the speculation started flying all over the place. Is it a Star Wars game? Is it not a It's been confirmed it is not a Star Wars game. So it is not the IP of Star Wars. Smed came back a few days later and, told the internet, hey, look, it's not a Star Wars game.
Probably because somebody at BioWare was like, hey, excuse me, what is this? And he's like, oh, no, it's not Star Wars. Oh, okay. No. You should probably tell somebody.
Well, it might not have been BioWare. It might have actually been, GameBreaker, but just saying.
It was Gary. He was like, Smed, I got no pants on. Can you please confirm?
Smed, we didn't. I think we closed the piece pretty. Here's the closing question. I mean, I think we were pretty clear in our posts here. So here's the question: is SOE bringing back Star Wars Galaxies? Will it be pre-NGE? Or will it be a whole new design philosophy? Or is it not SWG at all in a whole new game, but using some of the most loved features of the game? We posed the question. We asked. We didn't know. Anyway. Smed came back, cleared it up for us. We're glad, so it's not a Star Wars game. But it sounds like they're going to do a lot of the, stuff that SWG was doing. Still so many questions, Smed! Exactly. Pre-NGE, pre-CE, post-CE, what's CU? That was the combat upgrade. I'm talking in terms of people, like 1% of the people know what I'm talking about. Well, I've never seen an MMO. Well, here's the funny thing is I've never seen an MMO ever in the lifespan of an MMO change more than Star Wars Galaxies. Like, yeah. I mean, they changed like entire systems completely. Like they just literally changed how the game worked almost from top to bottom, like the way the classes worked, the way the systems worked, everything about it. And that's kind of when a lot of, so who knows? I mean, Byrne, did you play Star Wars Galaxies?
Oh yeah, my wife and I both played Star Wars Galaxies for quite some time. And you're right. It's like you always hear like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 right now. There's a lot of dev stuff back and forth. Can we do this in the game? Can we do this? And they're always saying something like, well, that wouldn't really go well with our battle system, or that really wouldn't go well with the way the crafting system is built right now. We would have to overhaul it. And Star Wars Galaxies always seem to be like kind of like, you know what? We could do that. And that's a better idea than what we spent 4 years building. We'll see you in 9 months, and it'll just be totally different. They weren't afraid to do that. I really did get into SWG, but like most other people, Combat Patch killed it for me. Totally killed the game for me. I couldn't get into it too much after that.
And that was way early on. We're talking like early in, not even. So what they did, Pat, was they changed the way combat worked, and then later on they changed to something else called the new gaming experience, and it completely borked everything. So who knows what they're going to bring back? What I can say is if it is early on SWG for players, it's definitely going to be much more sandboxy than we've seen in most other MMOs of lately. Because Star Wars was definitely, doing a lot of things like letting you put player housing wherever you wanted in the world, and crafting was incredibly intense, and just it was much more about the players.
Character creation, for crying out loud. Just start there. Character creation was ridiculously in depth for its time.
That's all cool, and we were kind of talking about this last week too, where we're starting to see kind of this pushback against these big titles like WoW, and where it's just so many different things going on, and blah blah blah. They're trying to keep it simple, make it more sandboxy, make it more exploratory, make the combat a little bit different, change it up, and it's kind of cool to see
SOE
this
going
pushback.
back to this, because I even see it seems like even some of the landmark stuff kind of points its finger at old SWG kind of like philosophies and stuff.
So did you read the follow-up stuff? Not just the stuff that said, it's not a Star Wars thing, guys. It's totally something else. But there was even more. Smed knows how to work that frickin' Twitter account, doesn't he? For crying out loud. He said, hey, guys, the information for what we're doing, it's out there on the internet already. Somebody's just got to find it. Yeah.
Wow.
That was another.
Wow.
It's out there. Somebody's just got to find it. So that led to people searching, of course, patents, right?
Well, there's names and patents.
They found the H1Z1 patent for Sony, which kind of speaks more like the zombie title that we've kind of heard. But now there's also speculation that this could possibly be Sony either acquiring or developing some type of unconfirmed partnership with the team behind The Repopulation, which is an upcoming MMO. that is doing a ton of stuff that Star Wars Galaxy. That's kind of like where a lot of rumor mongers are looking right now.
That could make a lot of sense. I brought that up on
Yeah.
the Republic today. We were talking about Star Wars, and I actually brought that up. And I brought up the repopulation. Together and found the repopulation is it's being developed by a smaller indie studio, but it is very much like the spiritual successor of like Star Wars Galaxies, sci-fi, a lot of the same systems and things like that. Gonna be interesting. I can tell you one thing by the reaction we had just on GameBreaker alone. Not that it's like, you know, a litmus test, like it ain't a World of Warcraft 100 million player litmus test, but I couldn't believe watching the meter of how many people were interested in hearing about this. So
Yep.
I think there's a market for this now. I think there was a market for it then. I think the problem with it then was every single time they added something to the game, the code was so borked that they broke like 10 things every time they added one new thing.
Right.
And it was.
Sounds like there were a lot of trials and tribulations with that game, pretty
There
much from
was.
the first patch.
But
So.
that was it. That was the #1 story of the week. So SOE, you know, they came off the heels of a kind of some bad news in this week, talking about last week they announced that they were shutting down 4 MMOs.
Right.
Come 360, and they're like, hey, and we're gonna maybe do this new Star Wars game. So looking forward to hearing more about this. Can't wait to hear. Maybe we'll hear some more at SOE Live, which is in Vegas kind of soon. Is that, I think.
When is
I forget
that?
when SOE Live is. A few months away.
Hmm.
Who knows? We shall see. Next up on the list, student writes his Ph.D. thesis on World of Warcraft raid and guild management. Which I did not get through this thing to read the whole thing, but
No.
it's again, this thing took off. I think just in the fact that, like, wow, I can't believe, like, you know, it was called There Be Dragons, an ethnographic inquiry into the strategic practices and process of World of Warcraft gaming groups.
Yep. Well, it is. I mean, when you think about guild management and raid management and all that kind of stuff, when you're dealing with an online community, it is like herding cats, essentially. You have to make sure that you keep players motivated and keep them coming back for more, and you got to do it with something more than just whatever content you're doing, right? So it's kind of cool that he's using it for his thesis, and he is really letting his nerd flag wave in this one, which is incredible. Because I mean, he had to spend, what was it? How many months was it?
39 months. He spent 39 months researching World of Warcraft raid groups and working together and organizing.
And you know where he is from, right? He's from Finland.
Yes.
Which is home of Paragon, one of the top raiding guilds in the world. So he probably did a stint with those guys as well. I'm guessing.
He says he participated in 5 different raiding organizations. So one of them could have been Paragon. He doesn't mention who it is though. And he spent time in various positions, varying from like trial member all the way up to raid officer. He wrote a 164-page paper on it about how raid management works and things like that.
Yeah. The cool thing is that he came up with the fellowship idea, the idea of the fellowship instead of an organization. It really does need to be people coming together for a common cause rather than people just coming together for, you know, whatever cause. It's a little bit different, and he was talking about how fellowships unite and disband while organizations form and fail, you know, essentially.
Yeah, the quote here is, he says, this is his actual quote. He says, this is because these organizations emerge from fellowships. Fellowships are closely knit groups of people who share a common history and values. Organizations form and collapse organically as fellowships unite and disband. So interesting stuff that, you know, I haven't heard anybody kind of getting their PhD. I was curious, really. I was trying to find out. We were trying to get some information to see if he got it, but it might be too early. I think he
defended. Yeah.
He defended, but I don't know if there was any confirmation of, like, you know, but I think he defended in December, I believe. So if you're interested, go over to GameBreaker and read the whole entire thing. It's we link to it in the PDF format.
There's usually 3 or 4 different studies going on for World of Warcraft at any given time, and this is kind of another one where it's taking a look at leadership issues and you know, guild issues and online community issues, and it's pretty cool to think about, really. I mean, all the what you have to do differently because it's an online community versus if it was, you know, people in the real world that you can, you know, actually touch.
Yeah, and we've seen this before. Like
HR
GameBreaker ran a story 5 or 6 months ago about corporations, Fortune 500 companies, that actually liked seeing these types of games on people's resumes as their hobbies because they were looking at them and performing different studies as far as teamwork and accountability and all kinds of stuff like that goes. Not only that, we've had WoW used in other aspects, like the whole corrupted blood incident used as a model for pandemic and epidemic stuff and terrorism studies. So it's really cool to see our hobbies pulled out like this. I hope he got his PhD. That's cool.
Well, and it's always good to see it in a positive light too, because let's face it, anytime that anything bad happens around the world, automatically video games get blamed for something, you know. So it's kind of nice to see somebody using it for something a little bit more positive. Anyway.
Use your Warcraft for the power of good.
That's right.
Next up on the list, I don't know how much there is to really talk about, but 25 insanely hot Jessica Nigri pics. I might just flip through these really quick. I don't really have much to say. That's an outfit.
I think you just let them roll, Gary. You can't really say much here.
Pat, could you stop talking? You're ruining this for me.
Yes, I know.
You're
I
ruining
know.
the moment.
I know. Everybody has this on mute anyway. It's fine. You have a very lovely singing voice. You should sing more, Gary.
Damn it, Pat! I've warned you once.
It gets getting better. All right. Yep. All right. There we go. So next story. All right.
Right.
Massive EVE Online battle. The largest battle in history broke out. I guess this was January 27th. Was when this broke. So apparently, this story goes that somebody didn't pay a bill. Literally, like didn't pay a bill. I don't know if we were sure exactly what it was.
Awesome.
It was apparently set up like I believe that there was like, you know, it was supposed to be an automatic payment system set up somehow, and I don't know if there's confirmation whether there wasn't funds in the account or anything like that. I'm not really sure why the payment wasn't made, but a payment wasn't made. They missed a bill, and that allowed the control of the system to sort of drop, and it left a station in the system vulnerable to attack and take. So two other groups, it was just CFC, which is an alliance, as well as the Russian coalition, took advantage of the lapse in payment and captured the station. It was going on live. I don't know how long did the battle last? I mean, the follow-up, I think it lasted like over 24 hours, I believe.
Yeah.
All we know, so if you guys aren't familiar with EVE Online, the crazy thing about EVE Online is all of the in-game, which they use the currency of ISK, can actually be translated out into money. So there's a whole system there. I'm not going to get into how it works, but it works. Anyway, after this was all done, 4,000 people took part in this battle. Here's a picture. Blow up? Yeah.
Now that's video, because I mean I guess from my understanding the lag was so severe that people are getting like 5 frames a second maybe.
Oh yeah,
during this.
It
always is every time.
It was
this
like a
happens.
slideshow. It was because those are all players just battling it out. So for a lot of people, they were like, "What am I looking at?" But this is one of the most epic battles in history. And funny enough, I had actually read somewhere that the Associated Press sent a war correspondent to cover this story.
What?
Yes.
Get out of here!
I am not kidding
Get
you.
out of here!
It was on. I believe it's on. Somebody could check me. I can't be wrong, but I think it was on CBS.com. The Associated Press sent a war correspondent out to cover this story. So at the end of the day, nearly 4,000 people are said to have been in this battle. And if you were to translate the amount of real-world money that was lost in this battle, it was nearly $284,000. I don't. Now I think we've actually heard it. But the numbers are sketchy. So there's a lot of different numbers all over the place. I've seen anywhere from 300
and if you
to
add in the amount of
330.
fried graphics cards, it's like 5.5 million. it's a really big number.
Oh, somewhere around $300,000 was lost in this battle.
Because somebody didn't pay their damn bill.
Yeah, literally, they didn't pay their rent. These are like the things that always make me want to play EVE, right? Every time I see them, I'm like, God That is cool. I want to play that. And then 15 minutes in, I'm like, I can't take this anymore. I don't get it. Never mind. Never mind. But man, are these exciting to watch.
The stories out of EVE Online are amazing. The experience, I played a lot of EVE for a long time, so I was a big EVE player. And you have these, I never had experiences at nowhere near this large, but we've had experiences where it's because it's going back to that sandbox. It's going back to players creating stories, and players, like, they give you the tools to set things like this up where you can collect payments and make people pay rent, and make, like, they do all the things that allow you to do it. And then when things like this happen, real world things happen, and real politics and real economy, or, you know, an in-game economy, and this kind of crazy outbreak. It's actually unbelievable that this can actually exist in a game.
And see, this was just a game. Imagine what happens if you miss your mortgage payment in real life, gang. You've got to make that payment.
Yeah, all your neighbors come over, they start fighting. They start blasting lasers throughout the neighborhood. Oh, I tell you.
This says 7 Titans lost. I think at the time that's the information that we had. I think it was updated since then. I don't know, chat room might be able to tell me, but I believe it was even more Titans than that. Yeah, CCP said it was between 300,000 and 330,000. I believe the number of Titans lost was a lot higher. Titans are like the large, huge ship that cost a ridiculous amount of money to actually have. So crazy, crazy stories. Changes the whole game. Changes the whole game. Next we had some Elder Scrolls stuff. First, I want to tell you guys about a great deal we got going on with Audible. If you guys have not checked out Audible, I want to hook you up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook just by going to the URL audible.com/GameBreaker. That's the URL you're going to want to go. Use the URL. You support GameBreaker by supporting Audible as well. And sign up. You don't have to pay a penny. You're just going to get a free audiobook and a free 30-day trial. If you like the service, you sign up after that, and you pay like a monthly thing. I think it's like maybe $15 a month to start with. You get a free audiobook, and every month you get a book, something like that. Great service. I love it. I've been a fan for years, long before they've been on. They've got a ton of great World of Warcraft books. Check them out. They've got a ton of great sci-fi, fantasy. The sci-fi collection is just fantastic. So a lot of good stuff. If you're a World of Warcraft fan, though, all of these are great choices. Highly, highly recommend. The new Dawn of the Aztecs books is the latest one that dropped back in November. Check that one out. Any of these could be one of yours for free just by using audible.com/GameBreaker. Download the app. You put it on your Android device or your iOS device. Download your book, and boom, throw in a pair of headphones, and there you go. Listen in your car. Listen when you're at the office. Got some downtime. Listen while you're gaming. Maybe you're farming. You know, maybe you're just doing some stuff off by yourself and you're not playing with anybody. Great time to listen to some audiobooks. So check it out, audible.com/GameBreaker. All right, next largest story of the week.
Maybe you have a 21-hour war at 5 frames per second.
Right.
Oh, yes.
It's a great time for Audible.
Great time. Probably one of the biggest. We've got 3 big MMOs coming out in 2014. 1 expansion, 2 big MMOs, but one of the biggest for sure, Elder Scrolls Online. Initially, the Imperial edition, which is what they're calling their collector's edition, had leaked. Now it is official. It is out. It is all across everywhere. So this is the collector's edition. There's the box. Comes with a nice statue, art book, bunch of goodies, all kinds of digital goodies. Malog Ball statue, 12-inch statue, a map of Tamriel, whole bunch of stuff.
So the big question on everybody's mind is, Mike Byrne, how many copies of this do you own?
Oh, if you missed Legendary, Mike Byrne.
How many copies of this do you own?
I'm gonna say wait. I'm gonna put my money down, and I am gonna say that
right now, right?
He's gonna buy 2.
One is already pre-purchased.
Which one?
So, not pre-ordered. One is already pre-purchased. I did
one.
Pre-purchased.
Here by my Burn guess. He'll
and it's the 99 physical edition.
The collector's edition. Will you buy another collector's edition for the second one? You will get a second one.
I'll probably get a second one, yes. But I don't know if I'll get the collector's edition. This collector's edition's a little pricey.
So you got the PC version, but you're probably gonna get the PS4 version as well.
Yeah.
You guys excited for ESO? I'm really excited for ESO. I am super excited for ESO. I'm going to buy the collector's edition of the PC version for sure. I really want to play this on PS4, though, but I don't want to buy it twice. But I really want to play it.
You know, it's kind of funny because I am a WoW guy, so I don't really. I look at Elder Scrolls and I try to really balance it out with what I'm doing in WoW, and this is one of those games where I'm like, I like it, but do I like it enough? And I don't know if I like it enough yet. So I think I need to look at it a little bit more.
Are you an Elder Scrolls fan? Did you play Skyrim?
A little bit here and there. I was not a huge Skyrim fan, but I
you
did
do have
play
kind of
it,
a dedicated thing with WoW. I mean, you've
right,
got, like,
exactly.
How many thousands of people are in the Convert to Raid guild now?
There's I don't know.
What is the number at? I'm curious. What is it roughly?
The number of accounts was probably in our guild is probably around 4,000.
Yeah, so he's got some kind of time on his hand. He's got to,
and then I got the show, and I got all this other stuff kind of tied in with WoW, and but I like WoW. I mean, I've kind of been doing a lot of WoW lately over the last 4 or 5 years.
He's like, I would love to play Elder Scrolls, but Gary keeps having me do these shows.
So many shows.
But it looks cool. I mean, it looks really, really cool, and it's just, where does it fit in my life? I guess that's kind of.
See, I'm an Elder Scrolls fanboy, kind of. I love Skyrim. I love Oblivion. Like, I love the franchise. Like, I'm definitely gonna play this.
And that video is epic, right there.
So the next day they dropped their cinematic. This is an 8-minute cinematic CGI to go along with the launch of their pre-orders and stuff, and it's fantastic. So I mean, Burn, you're obviously you ordered it. You're excited about it.
I am. I'm not nearly as excited as you are. It was funny watching, like, being on Twimo, Gary's progression with this one. Because it was just kind of, I'm watching it for the longest time. And then, like, the last 2 episodes, he's been all about Elder Scrolls Online.
There was a thing. There was this thing. Something happened. And
There was something that happened. I'm with you, though. I am excited about the game. I'm excited. I'm not the hype you have, but I am cautiously optimistic, despite the seemingly overwhelming evidence that the internet provides that it wants it to fail so hard.
So you
well, you already bought the collector's edition, so you're set.
True.
So you know what it is for me as well is that I'm excited about the game. I want to play it and actually play it for quite a long time if it's the game to play for a long time. But to be completely honest, if it's not the game I'm going to play like for years or something, I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I'm okay with just buying even though it's an MMO and we have this like thing where we got to play every month and for months and 6 months and a year. If I don't play the end game, if I don't live in it for like ever, I'm kind of okay with that. Like, if it delivers the Skyrim-esque, like, even the PvE experience of the questing and a good storyline, I'm going to be happy with it. And I'll sub for a while.
And that's exactly why I bought the collector's edition, because I looked at it as if this was a single player, if this was Elder Scrolls 6 collector's edition, would I have bought it? Yes. And so I am reasonably confident that I will enjoy the story ZeniMax has laid out from 0 to Elder Game, End Game, whatever the hell they want to call it. The story portion, I'm reasonably sure that I will enjoy that experience enough to buy the collector's edition. Then I'm with you. Is there enough for me to sub? That's a totally different question, and not one I have to answer to make my collector's editions purchase. I'm reasonably sure I'm going to get my value there.
How long do you sub for with giving it a chance? Like, how? Like, I almost always
I always
every
sub
MMO
through 2 patches.
2 patches.
I always
wow, that could be quite a while.
Yeah.
How many months?
Well, for Final Fantasy, that's going to be, to give you an example, that's a 6 to 7 month window.
Wow, that's a pretty good window.
I'll give you a shot. I mean, unless the game's just horribly unplayable.
Sure.
Age of Conan, that was one that I didn't give 2 patches to way back when. But if I can play the game, I'll sub and support the product up to 2 patches, and then if I'm still not, or if I'm not playing it at all, or if I'm not enjoying it when I am in there, that's when it's time to let it go.
I think I have a new nickname for you. Your new nickname is 2-Patch.
2-Patch.
Mike 2-Patch Burn. How you be?
That's right. That's right.
I have like a 4 to 6 month window. I feel like I have like a 4 to 6 month window where if I'm on the fence, if I'm on the fence with a game, But the thing is, I'm that's the different thing. I guess with me with MMOs, like I'm completely okay with then stepping away from it. Like if I spend $60 on the regular edition, or actually I should bring up this if you are going to pre-order it, not to plug this, but seriously, like if you want to save money, this is actually well this code is I think is only good till tomorrow. There may be another one, I don't know, but if you are planning on pre-ordering Elder Scrolls, go to GameBreaker.tv. The top here, this top thing right here says Elder Scrolls Online pre-order now 20% off. If you click this, we have a post up with a bunch of codes to save you 20% off. I think the codes are only good until they're only good to Friday, January 31st. So there may be more codes after this to come, but if you guys want to save some money, now's the time to do it. Pre-order it. So if you're going to do it, save 20% off. Might as well.
Well, and maybe one of the reasons, Gary, that we're seeing, game companies go into this more exploratory MMO type of game stuff that we were talking about earlier. Maybe one of the reasons that they're doing it is exactly for what you guys were talking about, because you only give a game 4 to 6 months of sub time before you say yay or nay. So maybe they're trying to, I don't know. Maybe that's why other games are like, well, we can't compete with WoW, so let's just do a different model completely and bring people in that way.
I mean, I think the reason so many people are kind of like a little bit, the people who are a little bit apprehensive with this, and we've talked about this Burn on This Week in MMO for ESO, is that they've shown very little end game. So we've just started seeing some gameplay videos. We've just started seeing a little bit more of the game. There's been a couple beta things, things that have been like capped at level caps, things like that, but no one really knows. Like we hear there's, PvP, we hear there's Elder Game. Is it Elder Game? Is that the correct terminology that they're using?
Yeah, Elder Game.
I forget because everybody wants to call it something different now. So, but we don't know what that is. So a lot of MMO players and what's weird is for a lot of MMO players, that is the game for them. I guess it's not for me. Like for me, an MMO really starts at level 1. Like it starts right at the beginning, and I'm like, if you don't get me through the leveling process, I'm not even gonna get to end game. Like to me, it shouldn't. The game shouldn't start there. I should have fun this whole journey upwards through, and then hopefully the end game is there for me. But it's got to start at level 1 for me. So I think a lot of people are kind of like, well, what's it going to be like? What are we going to do? Are there raids? Are there this or that? Or what am I going to pay for a sub fee for?
Right. Because you know that there's going to be like a bunch of people that are just going to zerg up to level cap and just try to get into all this content, all this end game content.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Because that's what they do.
I mean, they've probably written some really interesting stories. I would imagine with the Elder Scrolls name that the leveling and the storylines are going to be actually really probably cool, and you're going to want to pay attention to them. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a game. That's an RPG, right? Like, what is it just to race to end game? How do you play, Burn? Do you play so fast? I don't know if like you pay attention or you don't.
I pay attention to main story, with whatever MMO I'm playing. But lately, I've the last 1 or 2 MMOs that I've jumped into, I've really started to slow and just enjoy it. Because I got tied up like everybody else in that mentality of race to end game so that, I could be the first one putting videos out. And now I just want to enjoy the damn things. And Elder Scroll, I'm going to take my time because I love the way ZeniMax/Bethesda tells a story. But back to one of the things you said was like, we don't know a lot about this. When we do get press, it's very weird. Right? It's not like any other game we've covered. We always get like a good piece of information and then something that a lot of people are pissed off about. And even with this, it happened again, right? We got the news that PlayStation 4 version wasn't going to require you to have purchased the PSN account. So that was cool, the PlayStation Plus. And then everybody was like looking at the collector's edition and was like, wait a minute, there's a race that's only available to people that fork out the extra money for the collector's editions. That's not cool. So it's like, just
wait. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because what we don't.
I don't have a problem with this one.
But wait. Here's my question: we don't know. I mean, I don't know anything, but we don't know for a fact that they won't have that for sale as a separate purchase. Let's say in like a cash shop eventually. So
but that doesn't hurt the argument that's being made right now is that race is behind a cash wall of some type, whether it's a prepaid purchase or something else. Right off the bat, a subscription-based game charging for a race, while I don't agree with the argument, I can certainly see its validity.
I can see both. I can see both. It is a little. It is. It rubs some people wrong. It doesn't rub me the wrong way. I'm okay. I'm kind of okay with it. It's okay. I don't know why my gut tells me that they'll probably offer it at some point to purchase, but. All right, let's move on. Next story. People wondered why we posted this, and I gotta say because this guy is crazy. And when we saw this video, it literally I mean. We do things like this in games all the time. Crazy parkour, like scaling walls, like Metal Gear Solid and stuff. This guy is going to die. Like, this guy is not going to live his entire life, which is scary as F. So,
right.
Have you all seen this video? So this guy, he's got a site called MustangWanted.com. Like, don't recreate this. Yes, don't. He is beyond thrill seeker. So, like, there are no ropes. There are no harnesses.
Right.
He's just standing on the edges of buildings, barefoot, walking on, like snow, on girders. I mean, one wrong move, this guy is done.
Jeez.
It's Assassin's Creed 5.
It's
it's the next game.
Look at this guy. He's hanging. Just, what? Like, it's making me nauseous just watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw it. I'm going to keep buying collector's editions. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll keep doing this in video games. I'll just keep on doing this in video games.
Yeah, that's where it belongs.
Once you saw this video, I started Googling. Look, he's doing pull-ups, one-arm pull-ups, like just over death. I started Googling and trying to find out more information. There's like not a whole bunch of people that do this, but there is like a whole crew of people who are into this. Just when he starts going, look, what? And then he starts going backwards, like he starts flipping around, like,
oh, jeez.
Right,
like
that is no, Gary. That is no.
That was the next most popular thing on GameBreaker all weekend, and should be, but shouldn't be. Seriously, do not do that. Are you guys thrill seekers at all? Do you do anything like you like jump out of planes or like do anything kind of like crazy like that?
I've never been skydiving, but I would do that.
I would totally do skydiving. Burn, let's go do some skydiving together.
Can we do tandem, Pat? Let's.
Ooh.
Of course.
You're the one with all the looking for head to head. There's another throwback to Legendary. Go watch that show.
Oh yes. No, I did bungee jumping a little bit here and there, and that was fun. That was different.
I've never done bungee jumping.
Yeah,
skydiving. Motorcycles have been speed. I like speed.
Yeah, I like speed too. That's kind of my thing. Speed and like jumps with on a bicycle. When I was a kid, I was always doing that stuff. Yeah, man. Sweet jumps. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be a stuntman, but I don't want to do that crap. I don't want to hang from buildings. No.
Now you got to do kind of. You used to jump like milk crates. Now you got to do that to be a stuntman.
Right.
Yeah, speed was my thing. I mean, I think I've done.
It's bad when Pat's like, I don't want to do that. Can we just set me on fire?
Right, exactly. Set me on fire. Just push me off the damn building. Let me fall. Let me make it look cool. I don't want to just hang there over nothing. No way.
About thrill seeking. I guess I sort of understand the adrenaline rush. I mean, I think I've done about 150 miles an hour on my motorcycle. So like that's pretty intense. But like, I still don't. I've
done like 120 in a car, never on a bike.
That still is like that's just beyond. I don't know.
That's insane speed. That's good.
Do it in a game. All right, last up story this week. This one burned. This one's right up your alley. Where is it? I got to get it up here.
Here we
go. Video game collector. Made a mistake. Whoa, I'm trying to get the link up here. So a buyer of a very rare Nintendo cartridge. It was up on eBay for, what was it, $100,000 for this thing? Pat, wait till you see the condition of this thing. Look at this. $100,000 for that.
What? Ugh.
Ripped up label. What does it say? It says Mario and blue ballpoint pen on it.
That's a perfect one. It's in prime condition, Gary.
That's what we call near mint.
Near mint.
So this thing was up on eBay.
Doesn't have the case, but the electronics are perfect.
It got up to nearly $100,000. It's a really rare Nintendo cartridge. Bern, what cartridge is this?
That would be the Nintendo World Championships gray cartridge.
Now, what makes it so rare, first of all?
There was only about I think it's like 11 or 1,200 that were made back in 1990 for a competition Nintendo held, and it's a special chipset where 3 different games were played for this competition. There were also 26 gold-colored versions of it. They're the more rare of these two, and nobody's quite sure exactly how many of either of them are left in circulation because they disappeared as prizes in the competition. The gold ones went out to Nintendo Power Magazine club winners who did that contest, and then of course employees shanked them and gave them to everybody. So nobody's sure how many are left. They're exceedingly rare. This one's a little less rare than the gold, a lot less rare than the gold.
So the buyer,
yeah.
so it got up to $100,000, and then when the seller contacted them to try and figure out how to get payment, they retracted their bid and said it was by a mistake. They bid by mistake.
Right.
Whoops.
Right. That's because there's no cartridge in that cartridge. Where is the cartridge part? I just see chips everywhere. That's it.
Bern, were you watching?
Well,
this?
The screenshot there is complete. It's definitely complete. I mean, it would have to go through a little bit of an authenticity check. The silver ones or the gray ones are a lot harder to check. The gray ones are easier to check for authenticity because they were serial numbered. Gold ones weren't, so they're a little tougher. But everything's there. It just looks like shit. Assuming it's authentic, we've seen them go over the last 10 to 15 years anywhere in the $10,000 to $30,000 range, and that's a full cartridge. That's the inside of a Nintendo cartridge. So I watched this one when you guys put it up. I was at work, so I didn't see it initially, and when it went up on GameBreaker, I followed it for the rest of the day because $100,000 was ridiculous.
Collectors knew that something was wrong. They knew something was wrong or something was kind of fishy.
Was
because
not right.
Hey, Bern, I've got a '79 Gremlin that I'm putting up for sale. Yeah, it's got a lot of Bondo, but I mean it's pretty much there. Right, and it kind of runs as long as you push it, but whatever. It's not going to explode anytime soon, as long as you don't put gas in it.
Here's what the seller said to Destructoid. He said, the unfortunate reality is the second I approached the winning buyer with payment options, they retracted their bid, claiming it was a mistake. I'm not offering the item to other bidders in the auction to see if any of them are honorable individuals. It may take me a while, but that's all about I can do for now. It would be nice if eBay were more seller-friendly rather than 100% buyer protection focused. So we talked a little bit about this on Legendary about just like collecting video games. I mean, is this game just not like? Are there no ROMs of this game? Can you not play this like through any other means? Like, can you just not?
Oh, you can definitely go and play it. Yeah, I mean, you could find a ROM on the internet in 15 minutes and play it and set a score and everything. The way the cartridge worked, if you don't know anything about the competition, was that little window there had a chipset that you could flick a couple of switches back and forth. And it would let you play 3 different games in a sequential order. And the idea was to get, it was Super Mario Brothers, Rad Racer, and Tetris. And it would take your score from those games, put them in a formula, and give you a final score. So it was like a neat little odd cartridge. You could get a ROM and play it in 5 minutes. That's not what makes this the ideal. It's that this was not sold in stores. You couldn't buy this cartridge. It was a very, very slim production line. There's 2 versions of it, and it was used for an event that only happened one other time after that on a significantly smaller scale. So there's like 4 different rarity factors here slammed onto these 2 cartridges. Ironically,
craziness.
Not just for trivia's sake out there. Ironically, it's not the rarest or most valuable.
What is the rarest,
Nintendo
most valuable?
Cartridge.
What is that?
Since this one didn't sell for the $100,000 price tag that was on eBay, the record still belongs at $75,000 for stadium events, brand new in the box, and that's the NTSC North American version.
Nintendo Stadium events.
Stadium events. It was a Power Pad game that there was a difference in the publisher company. Very, very rare. This one was in box, sealed. 75 grand still holds the record there.
Is that
That's
it
the
right
way
there?
to collect your games. That's the way to collect them.
Family
That's
fitness.
the way to collect. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Is there an upside to collecting the things? Yes, there certainly is. If you can get your hands on one of these. But
Right.
as far as having big video game collections, you're not going to cash in too often.
Right.
I guess like collecting anything, if you're into it, you got the disposable income to kind of collect it. But definitely, like we talked about on Legendary, you were saying collecting video games for some sort of investment purposes is definitely not a smart move, apparently. So,
No.
I mean, do you ever think that? Do you foresee like somebody coming along and releasing these games again and just putting them back out in a format that would just like drop the price completely? I mean, what's to stop them from just doing a run of these things?
Well, because the first one, the World Championships, are directly from Nintendo. Nintendo's never going to do that. They're not going. There's no point in them re-releasing an NES cartridge. The second one, the track game that we were talking about, those companies don't exist. Besides the fact that we're talking about NES cartridges, nobody in their right mind is going to re-release these. Yes, you could play the games in ROM fashion, but nobody's buying these for the game. And that's what causes a re-release, is a high demand for the game itself, not a high demand for the value of the rarity. Like Chrono Trigger is what we talked about. There was a high demand for that game to be re-released, so it came out on the PlayStation 1 discs and killed the value of the Super Nintendo cartridge. Nobody's saying, man, I really wish that I could play stadium events on my PS4.
I just got this yearning right now to play some stadium events. No, I'll put my money in Bitcoin. All right.
There you go.
There we go.
Mike Byrne, follow him on Twitter, MagicMan, MIGICKMANN. And, of course, you can check him out on This Week in MMO, which airs live on Fridays at 3 Pacific. So come on over for that. It's always a fun time as well.
Gary?
Yes.
Speaking of SMED and Twitter, keep an eye out there, guys. SMED's getting funny, has been for the last 6 hours, and I told Q 6 hours ago, I think we may see Landmark Alpha go live tomorrow.
Whoa!
I better give my
Look out.
Take a look at SMED's Twitters, and you'll see the hints all laid out there.
Wow. Look at Mike Byrne. You gonna make me
Bold
go pre-order
statement.
Landmark now? I gotta go.
I already did. I did that in December. $100 there too.
Apparently, Byrne just shits money. All right. Pat
Apparently.
Crane. Follow him on Twitter, Pat Crane. Go over to ConvertToRaid.com. Watch Convert to Raid live every Sunday morning at 9 Pacific right here on the GameBreaker Twitch channel. And, of course, Legendary, which airs live on Thursdays right before this show. Come over, check out our other new show, This Week in Steam with Kat and Andresko. We cover the top Steam games of the week. Check that out. Great one. And look out for our new reviews. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week on some more GameBreaker.